Welcome to the World According to Christy podcast. This show will motivate you, inspire you, and give you tools to activate your goals and dreams, whether those dreams are entrepreneurial, corporate, or personal.
This episode is sponsored by the Faith to Conquer Fear course, The Mind, How What You Think and Choose Impacts Your Life. Do you want to become more aware of your limiting thoughts and create a vision for what you want and the choices you must make to support it? If so, visit www.empoweredspeaker.com/faith to conquer fear courses to learn more about this powerful self-study course. Hello, this is Christy Demetrakis. I told you in my first episode when I kicked off the World According to Christy podcast that we were going to have a mixture of guests, some from my vintage Faith to Conquer Fear radio show and some new friends. In this episode, you're going to meet one of my old friends who will inspire you and give you valuable tools to move forward. Take a listen.
And it is Sue Guiher of Thrive for Success. Now, let me tell you a little bit about Sue before I let her introduce herself a bit more. Sue has spent over 20 years working in marketing and sales, helping individuals and organizations create programs that work. She understands the value of time and the exact steps you need to take when creating and growing a business. So you create a business you are in control of and not a business that runs you. It is her mission to help small business owners grow their business to a place where they feel like they are thriving financially while also thriving emotionally. Her clients have time to spend on their physical well-being as well as time to spend with their family and friends. Wow, that sounds like a perfect world. While an executive for a large healthcare company, she managed over 75 staff members, creating programs which provided stellar service while making the best use of each of the person's talents and time. She has taken that knowledge and experience and for the past decade has done the same for her personal clients, from personal trainers to lawyers to coaches and consultants. And most recently, she has helped business leaders communicate more effectively by teaching at the Wharton School at the University of Pennsylvania. Sue Guiher is the founder and CEO of Thrive for Success Coaching and Consulting. She is an award-winning author and an international speaker. Sue, that was a mouthful, but a good...
I know, I'm like, wow. Boy, I feel old in some ways.
I love it. So welcome to the Faith to Conquer Fear radio show.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here. I can't wait to connect with you and your listeners and just share some fun stuff today.
Well, awesome. I tell you, one of before we get into the questions, because I'm feeling like this is going to be a great session, but tell us something about you that's not in your bio.
Okay, so I talk a lot about thriving, and I call myself a self-proclaimed thrivologist because I have been studying thriving for way over a decade. But one of the things that I do personally, and those who know me within my, what I like to call the thrivosphere, know that I get up at 4 a.m., that's Eastern time, every day. And I do that for several reasons. One, because everyone goes, oh, that's really early. I go straight to my hot tub. I'm a hot tub girl, and it's outside under the stars, and I spend that moment, and it's almost always 20 minutes. I don't time it. It's almost always 20 minutes of just being with me and being very conscious and intentional and setting out how I want to experience my day. And it just has been something I do every single day. Unless it's pouring rain or we're having a hurricane, I'm out there around 4 a.m., 7 days a week. And
wow.
And so that's one of my things that I do to get myself ready for every day.
Mm-hmm. And I have to ask you, what time do you go to bed if you get up at 4? Please don't say I get to bed at midnight.
No. And it's kind of funny because I guess this is another share about me. We have this joke. I don't always go to bed at night, but we had to have a unwritten rule. Well, it's not even unwritten. It's a spoken rule. After 9 o'clock p.m., I am not responsible for anything, any thought processes. So when I'm reading last night I was reading to my daughter before bed. That's things we still do. each night. I have 3 children. My daughter's my youngest. She's 9. And as I started reading the same sentence over and over again, she said, "That's okay, Mommy. Some people can't read when they're tired."
And you would be one of them.
I was good for the first chapter. The second chapter did me in, and she says, "I think it's time for you to go to bed."
Oh, my goodness, that is so funny. Well, I am so impressed. More and more I'm hearing as I, listen to webinars and some of the people that are my informal mentors that I listen to on YouTube and some other areas. I'm hearing more and more people talk about how important it is for them to be up really, really early. And I tend to not be a morning person. I'm not grumpy in the morning, but I'm most effective in the afternoon and at night when everybody else is shutting down. That's when I get my second win. And
that's my husband, so it's kind of funny. We are
God.
like opposite schedules, my husband and I,
Yeah, my husband is the same. He's not, I don't know if I don't know what he is. Actually, he's not a morning person. He can't hang at night, so I don't
He's a midday solid person, right?
Maybe he is. He's an 8 to 5, or he's a teacher, so I'll call him. He's a 7:30 to 3:15 person. That's his most effective time.
There you go.
But anyway, well, that's awesome. Well, it's good to get to know you a little bit better, and we would have never known that 4 a.m. because I'm certainly not up, and I'm not going to be emailing you at 4 a.m.
I tell all my students that don't expect anything from me at midnight, but 4 a.m. Yes, that's the true time. And it started. I'll have to tell you, Christy, it really started because when I started my business, my oldest son was 2 months old, and so 4 a.m. I had a lot of European clients, so 4 a.m. was perfect, and I could get up, do a little bit of work, and still it works perfectly with my kids' schedule. I get up now, I have 2 hours of time to myself, and then they're up, getting them ready for school and everything else. So it's just a schedule that I've maintained probably for close to 15 years now.
And it obviously works for you, so that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, hey, we're going to jump right in.
Yeah.
So you mentioned, I mentioned in your bio about thriving, you're helping your clients to thrive personally and financially. You're a self-proclaimed thriveologist. I love it. I need to think of a cool word for myself. But you're a self-proclaimed thriveologist. What does thriving mean? That's a term we just kind of use, almost like love. You just use the term so loosely, but you really don't think about it and what it really means. What does thriving really mean? And let's set the groundwork before we even get started.
Absolutely. And so many people have started to use the buzzword thrive and thriving without truly knowing what it means. And I host a weekly call called The Thriving Revolution, where I give this definition every single week. And thriving is moving forward despite of or because of circumstance and or obstacle. So it's that feeling of moving forward, continuously moving forward, not being stuck. And I've added to that definition over the years that means that you don't have to be perfect. Thank goodness, hallelujah. You have the opportunity to take risks because risks help you move forward. You can have do-overs. Gosh, I didn't get it right the first time. Oh, well, I'm still moving forward. I'm still in that place of thriving. And so by pulling that all together, that's a space. And everything that I do and all of my programs have that aspect of it. And when I think of the work that I do, we talk about brand promise. What I know I can promise without a shadow of a doubt, every single person that I work with, is that no matter what, I can help move them forward at least one step. Sometimes it's a baby step. Oftentimes it's a quantum leap to whatever the next space is towards reaching their dreams.
Wow. Well, we said we're going to talk about, how you create a thriving mindset. Yeah. And I imagine that as a coach, business coach, personal coach, that kind of turns into all of that. When we talk about thriving, life coach, all those things. But as you're working with people, a lot of what goes into thriving is your mindset.
Absolutely. And for me, it starts out by being consciously aware. And sometimes being consciously aware causes a little bit of smarting, because sometimes when you're consciously aware of your actions or of what your mind's saying or what your beliefs are, you might want to go, I wasn't aware that my thinking was causing me to act in a certain way, or that my beliefs were shaping my goals or my dreams. So I'm very big on being conscious. So by noticing, what are you thinking about a topic? Are you setting yourself up that you are blaming everybody else in your life for your circumstance? Are you viewing yourself as fully whole and in this place that you can look for your dreams? Or is something else going on that's stopping you and causing you to be stuck or to play small, to not stretch outside that comfort zone? Yeah, playing small. And we don't always realize that we play small.
You're right. And I think that's even more so for women.
Yeah, so. We make small dreams. So, okay, I can succeed there. And then this is something that, I won't say drives me crazy, but sort of does. When people use the word, I'm just a mom, I'm just a blah, blah, fill in the blank. Or I'm doing a little speech or a little program or a little, I'm doing a little get-together. Those words that make us play small and sometimes feel small when we're not even realizing that we're doing it to ourselves.
Right. Wow. So it's the mindset, but then you said something very powerful. It's what you say.
Yes.
All this is biblical, right? I mean, this is all biblical. Everything you're saying is biblical based. It starts with what you say.
It starts with what you say, because your words are a reflection of what you're feeling in your heart and you're thinking in your head. Our words, and my background, as you said, is as a speech pathologist, so a communication expert. I hate to tell you how many, that's like over 25 years of communication.
We won't add it all up.
And so I am acutely aware, and one of the things I love about language is how powerful it is. And I want to share an example with you. And so here's an immediate thing for everybody to listen for and become aware of. And I don't want you to judge yourself, because that's another big thing, is when we become aware and judge. And I want you to become aware and curious. I teach a class on curiosity. I love it, because it's impossible to be truly curious about something and judgmental about something at the same time. So the easiest way to get out of judgment is to be curious. So one of the things I want everyone to think about and be aware of is, how many times do you use the word but? I don't know about you, Christy. Do you hear a lot of people using the word but in their language?
Absolutely.
I do. I have a saying that I coined, I'm changing the world one butt at a time. It has nothing to do with physical training.
I could use a little of that too, but it's all
absolutely. So I hear so many people say, I want to create I'll just use, thriving business or thriving life, but I don't have the time, I don't have the money, I don't have the blah, 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 fill in the blank. The problem is, every time you use that word but, you negate whatever you just said.
Yes, you do.
You do. You put it out there to the world, to God, to your universe, and say, I want this, but, which means I really don't want that. So don't be listening, because what I just said, but I'm focused on all this other stuff instead. The simplest thing that you can do in your language is change every time you use a but, unless you really want to negate what the previous sentence was, and then why say it anyway, is use and. And allows both things, we learned that when we were young, both things on the side of the equation to coexist. I love to use this example because it's the one I use for myself when, that fitness thing. I want to lose weight, but I love chocolate. No, I want to lose weight and I love chocolate. Okay, both things coexist. I do want to lose weight, and I do love chocolate. So now your brain, which is the most powerful thing, and your subconscious, which is so powerful, goes, oh, she wants to lose weight, and she loves chocolate. We need to allow her to find a solution that lets both sides coexist.
Yes, coexist.
And we are powerful beings in that when we have both sides coexisting, you will find a way to make it happen. But if you put that but in there, then your subconscious goes, oh, she just likes chocolate. We'll just send her lots of chocolate. Forget that weight thing.
Oh, that's powerful. That's so true.
Yeah. I hear that all the time. And so, even for myself, I start looking at, okay, here's two situations. Let's put an and in it. And your brain automatically starts coming up with ways to solve that problem.
And when you talk about the mind being so powerful, that is so true. And even, I don't know if you're like me, I'm sure you've had this happen before, but I'm the type of person that, my mind is constantly working. Even at 4 a.m. when I'm not really awake.
Absolutely.
Everybody's mind is always working. And you solve a lot of problems at night in your sleep. When your body is resting, that's when your subconscious and your mind continue to work to solve issues and problems, which is why when I go to bed with an issue or, go to bed several days with an issue, at some point I'm going to either wake up in the middle of the night, that's usually my 3 a.m. hour, I usually wake up in the middle of the night with a solution, or when I wake up, I have an answer, or I at least have a clearer perspective on what next steps could look like. So when you talk about the power of the mind to help you get to a different place, I mean, if you're now changing, you're consciously making the decision to change your speech patterns, you're trying to consciously make a decision to change how you think about things, and if that's on your mind all the time, that's what's happening. I mean, your mind will start to do those things, and you'll start to see those results. You're exactly right.
Absolutely. And I don't know the exact number, but I believe it's at least 9 times. It might be even greater than that. Our subconscious is, I feel like it's bigger than 9 times, but minimally 9 times more powerful than our conscious mind.
I can.
I think it's really bigger than that, but I know I'm safe with at least 9 times. But I know I'm safe there, but I think it's actually much more powerful than that. Another thing sometimes that you can do, Christy, is also I don't know if you're like me, want to brain dump sometimes and just write out whatever the issue is, and ask. I do a lot of questions. Ask for the ideal solution for the better good. And just write it down and leave it on your clean desk or leave it next to your bedside or whatever. And your subconscious and whomever it draws in to help you will help solve that problem.
And this is similar. There's a conference I do each year called the Faith to Conquer Fear Conference. And one of the exercises I did for a couple of years was a vision board activity.
Yes.
And you're familiar with vision boards, and for those people who aren't, it's the exercise of basically putting those dreams, those big visions, those goals that you have visually on a board. It could be things you cut out from a magazine, or it could be something you draw, whatever, symbols, images, or visual examples of what of you achieving that would look like. And you create this board that you hang somewhere that you see it regularly. It's not something that you sit and study, but it's something you look at regularly. And over time, again, the power of that subconscious mind, your mind sees those things and it begins to work on your behalf in order to accomplish the things that it is consistently seeing.
Yes.
Which is why it's so important. People all wonder, when your kids grow up, we all have, both of us have children, your kids are growing up and all of a sudden they'll start acting a certain way, or that, they'll have some fear, and you go, why in the world are they afraid of that? But you have to think about it and, like, is that something you've said over and over? Is this something that they've seen through you? Are they afraid of spiders because you're afraid of spiders, but they really have no other reason other than they saw you jump, so they jump, and they just assume, they take on that fear. But that's, oh my gosh, this is so powerful. It's all about the mind, and it's all about what you say, which is not just important to how you reflect on other people, but you hear it first. My pastor at my church, he talked about that. He's like, you are the first person to hear what you speak.
Yes.
And when it goes in your ears, then it goes down into your heart and into your mind, and then it comes back out. I mean, it's that circle. So if you're continuing to say negative things, and that's what your mind hears, and then that's what gets into your heart, and then you speak what comes out of the heart, and it just goes, I mean, it just continues. So this is very powerful.
And to add on to the vision board, one of the things I do with all of my clients and in this program I offer that is called a vision letter. And it's really interesting, and it has people look 1 year out and write their life as if it's a year out and everything is as they want it to be. And it's very interesting how difficult that is for so many people to vision out exactly what they want. And then makes sense if people can't create a vision for what they want. How do they know where they're going? How do they know what to ask for? How do they know what next steps to take? And so the vision board, being able to even sit down and go, gosh, this is really what I want for my life.
Yeah.
Or write out a letter, which I always have them write it to me because it's easier. It's often easier to write to somebody else than to yourself. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I know.
But all of that, and so I always also have them notice, again, with curiosity, just, isn't that interesting, where that resistance is. You know, isn't it interesting for your vision board, gosh, I want to put that big vacation, but I don't know that it's ever going to happen. So if I put it on there and I don't have it, I might be disappointed. And I think that's another way that we shape that fear. I think disappointment is just another level of fear.
Yeah.
You know, I'm afraid that I won't realize what I'm doing, and I don't want to be disappointed.
I don't want to be disappointed. But wouldn't you be disappointed if you never tried? And that's what that's the thing I think people don't get. It's, but what am I going to learn in the process?
Yeah.
You know, you may not. Maybe it's not. You know, maybe you didn't hit the $1 million mark by the end of the year, or ever for some people. Maybe you don't hit that mark. But if you had never done anything, you wouldn't have even gotten to the 100,000 mark or the 200,000 mark. And oh my goodness.
And we could talk about beliefs all day. My clients call me the belief barracuda. I know. They nicknamed me for that, and because I can really shift beliefs. And I'll just, so that we don't go too off, is really the thing around beliefs is that we as human beings want to be right. So if we have a belief that our life is going to turn out a certain way, we will bring into our existence, we will take actions, we will do things to make us right, even if it's not in our own best interests. Like if we have and this is just a real simple example, if we have a belief that people are mean, then we will notice every single mean person as we go around our life because we want to be right. And see, I told you.
Validate that belief.
Validate that belief. People are mean. And so the biggest thing is just to shift and meet one nice person. And then you all go, wow, you know what? Some people are nice. You don't have to say all people, but even just shifting from some people are nice, you can't hold on to two beliefs at the same time. So if you have the belief that some people are nice, then all of a sudden you start meeting more and more nice people because you've let go of the belief that all people are mean.
Yeah.
And
we need to shift because we are way off track here. We are.
Let's shift back though. Well, actually, it fits into the 5 powerful steps we're going to talk about. So don't worry about that.
Let's talk about it. Let's go ahead and talk about it.
So going right off of beliefs, there's really 5 powerful steps, and they're in the forms of questions that you can use to move yourself forward, be in that place of thriving on any situation that you find yourself in. And I truly mean that. This works for any situation. And so if you have a certain situation, you might have a certain belief. We always get ourselves stuck by talking about the problem. This is so bad. I'm so blah, blah, blah. The problem. So let's say you have a work situation. We're just going to say a work situation. Here's the question I want you to ask yourself. And it can be whatever situation. So if you're listening, find a situation right now that you would love to move forward in. Everybody got it? Good. I want you to ask yourself, what's working about whatever that, quote, problem or situation is. Or ask yourself, what's the best thing? So if it's work, what's really working at work? Or what's the best thing that you like about work? Or if it's a relationship that you're feeling a little struggle in, what's the best thing? Or what is working about this relationship? And really think about it. Sometimes I say with clients, what's the best thing that's going on for you today? And sometimes it's a struggle. So the best thing might be, I woke up. We can start from there. Mm-hmm. So for all of you, there is something that is the best thing or what's working. The second question to ask yourself, what about that makes it work? Or what about that makes it the best thing? So if it's working, maybe you have flexibility in your schedule. Wow, you know what? What's the best thing about my work is I have flexibility. Or that I really enjoy working with this coworker. Or if in a relationship, what's the best thing is that, when we go to the movies, we see eye to eye. Or when we sit down and can have a conversation and talk, we really can listen to each other. Or whatever it is. So identify around that situation, and you can write these questions down. So what's working or what's the best thing? And what about that makes it work or makes it the best thing? Don't move on until you've answered yourself those two questions. Mm-hmm. And now, Christy, now we're getting to this vision part. Mm-hmm. So this is how it all ties in. Because the third question, around whatever this situation is that you're feeling some stickiness in or feeling some struggle, ask yourself, if I could create this relationship, this work situation, whatever it is, in the way that I wanted it to be so that it was ideal for me. And if ideal feels too big of a word, so that it was the best it could be for me. But if you could create your ideal, I'm giving you all a magic wand right now. If you could create a vision of how you would want this resolution or this particular situation to be, what would that look like? And really spend some time. For all of these, don't just answer them in your head. You should have paper and pencil, and you should be writing it down. Paper and pen. Write it down. Much more powerful, as we just talked about. Vision letters, vision boards. Write it down. And that ideal, we just spent a lot of time talking about the subconscious mind, writing it down. Again, the reason why the subconscious mind is so powerful and why this ideal question is so powerful is that if you can imagine it, if you can create it in your mind, you can create it in reality. And I'll tell you why. As powerful as our minds are, our minds can't tell the difference between positive and negative, or truth and fallacy. And that sounds really bizarre. There's a logical part of our mind, of course, but the subconscious mind, this is why when you go to a scary movie or a sad movie, you respond with emotions. You get scared at scary movies and you cry, even though you know you can put your hands down. You are sitting in a movie theater looking at things on the screen, no monsters coming after you. The people on the screen have nothing to do with you. You still experience it as if it is reality to you. Ever thought about that?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
thinking about it too. Like,
I'm one that cringes at scary movies too. And then you look back and you go, you're sitting in a theater.
Right.
Nothing's happening to you.
Lights come up and everybody has their tissues or whatever, and you go, oh, yeah, okay, I get to leave. This is okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
But our mind is experiencing it for us, and we have emotions within our body, and our heart races and everything is as if it's real, just because we told it so. So if you write down your ideal, so I'll go through those 3 steps. What's working or what's the best thing? What makes it work and makes it the best? What would be ideal? And now here comes what everybody likes to do first, and it's fourth. What's not quite right yet? about that situation. And again, by the time you've gone through this process, your brain has been shifted. Literally, parts of your brain have been shifted to you're now in problem-solving mode. We never use the word wrong. It's not quite right yet. Creates possibilities. Now you can write down those things that aren't quite right yet. Whatever's happening in that situation. And by now you've diffused away some of the pieces that'll keep you stuck. And you can write down truthfully what the gaps are. What's causing you to feel like this is a problem for you? What's not quite right yet? And then looking at that ideal and what's not quite right yet, the last question, the last step is, what are the resources or support that I need to make it right, to get to that ideal? And you can identify for yourself, gosh, I need to have a conversation. Maybe I need to go back to school so I can get a different job. Maybe I need to just spend a little bit more time on self-care. Maybe I need to go talk to someone else. What resources or support do you need to make it right, to make it fit that ideal? And those are your 5 steps.
Wow. And, I know we're calling this, creating a thriving mindset in 5 simple steps. I think it's 5 simple questions, right?
It is 5 simple questions, yes.
Yeah, and 5 simple questions, which aren't simple. Really.
Yes. and I usually do call it. I call it the 5-question framework. So it's a framework of thinking and a framework of structure. So yes, it is. It's 5 steps that you take as questions. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, Sue, I knew the time would fly. And we could have a 3-hour radio show on talking about beliefs and thriving and mind and all that good stuff. But we have to bring it to a close. And so I want to give you an opportunity. Thank you, first of all, because you've been a great guest in providing some fabulous content. But I want to give you an opportunity to tell people a little bit more about you and how they can contact you and anything else you want to share here.
Absolutely. So you can contact me and at www.thrive4success.com. You can sign up for the free weekly call there that I have every Tuesday afternoon. But I also wanted to give your listeners a free gift from me. And it's a really simple and powerful tool. As you can see, I love to share them. And that is at www.thrive4success.com. And then I guess that's at / whatever that / is, faith, FAITH, faith. And that will allow you to become really conscious about how you're spending your time and energy. And you will create what's called a personal thriving sphere. We're putting yourself in the center of your world. And that is my free gift. And also, if any of you want to do a move forward session with me, I have a discounted rate for all of you there, and that is at thrive4success.com /move forward, MOVEFORWARD, move forward. And that can be anything that you want to move forward in your life.
That's awesome. Well, I encourage you all to please take advantage of this, and I want to thank you all for listening. Do you like free resources? Tools that will help you accomplish stuff? I like great resources, and I have great resources for you to download for free at www.empoweredspeaker.com/free resources. You can access video series, declaration journals, free chapters of my books, and more. Visit empoweredspeaker.com today.
Thank you for listening to the World According to Christy podcast. Remember to subscribe to ensure you receive updates on upcoming shows and check out free resources to help you achieve your dreams at empoweredspeaker.com.